What would you do if the thing you desired most came with a price you could never pay? This is the story of a farmer, a man of the soil, a man who longed for more than his fields could give. One day, he found it. Not in gold, not in silver, but in a drum. A drum that spoke. A drum that promised fortune. A drum that warned of danger. And when he raised his hand to strike it, he did not know that every beat would echo into destiny. This is the farmer and the talking drum. His name was Okoro. From the break of dawn until the dying light of dusk, Okoro bent his back to the land. His hands were thick with calluses. His skin was darkened by the sun. His life was tied to the soil of Umuaka. He sowed yam. He sowed maize. He sowed cassava. But no matter how hard he worked, his harvests were never enough. When his neighbors stacked barns of yams, Okoro's storehouse sat empty. When the men of the village wore fresh wrappers, his clothes were patched and torn. When others laughed in the evening market, Okoro sat alone in silence. He was a farmer, but he wanted more than food. He wanted pride. He wanted wealth. He wanted respect. And so, he prayed. At night, he knelt beneath the stars. He whispered to the ancestors. He begged the unseen spirits. Send me fortune, he said. Send me a miracle. The villagers mocked him. They said, Okoro, you dream too high. A farmer cannot rise beyond his hoe. But Okoro's heart burned. He would not settle for scraps. And one morning, as he entered the forest searching for firewood, the miracle he had prayed for began to call his name. The forest was thick that morning. The air smelled of damp earth. The branches whispered with hidden birds. Okoro's cutlass swung through undergrowth. His bare feet pressed against the red soil. And then, he heard it. Dum, dum, dum. A drum. But there was no drummer. He froze. His breath caught. His eyes darted left, then right. Nothing. Again. Dum, dum, dum. But this time, the rhythm spoke. It was not just sound. It was words. Okoro. Okoro. His blood ran cold. His name. The forest itself was calling his name. Fear told him to run. But curiosity gripped his heart tighter. Step by cautious step, he followed the sound. Deeper. Darker. Until the sunlight thinned. And the trees stood like guards around him. There. In the hollow of an iroko tree. He saw it. A drum. Carved from wood that glowed as if polished by moonlight. Its skin stretched tight, though no hand had touched it. Its ropes gleamed, though no drummer had tuned it. Okoro's hands shook. He reached forward. His fingers brushed the surface. Dum. The drum answered. Farmer. If you strike me, I will answer. If you beat me, I will give. But remember, what I give, I can also take. Okoro staggered back. His chest pounded. A talking drum. Surely this was no ordinary thing. His lips trembled. Give me food, he whispered. The words escaped before he could stop them. He struck again. Dum dum. The earth quivered. The leaves shivered. And then, before his very eyes, the ground opened. Baskets appeared. Baskets of yam. Baskets of maize. Baskets of cassava. Okoro fell to his knees. Tears filled his eyes. Laughter spilled from his lips. Food. Plenty. Wealth. At last. From that day on, Okoro was no longer the same man. His heart, once empty, overflowed with food. His barns swelled with yam and maize. His goats grew fat, his chickens multiplied. The villagers began to whisper, "Where did Okoro find such fortune?" Some said he had discovered hidden treasure. Others said the gods had blessed him. Even his wife, Ngozi, grew suspicious. "My husband," she asked one night, "where is all this coming from?" Okoro smiled, hiding his secret. "From my sweat," he lied. "I have worked harder than before. I have been favored by the spirits." But the truth? His hoe was gathering dust. His farm lay untended. The only tool he used now was the drum. Every morning, he struck it. Dum dum. Baskets of food appeared. Every evening, he struck it. Dum dum. Goats and cows filled his yard. His neighbors grew envious. His friends grew distant. But Okoro, he grew proud. He bought new clothes. Cloth dyed deep indigo. Sandals of smooth leather. Beads that clinked as he walked. When he entered the market, heads turned. Children ran after him, laughing. Women greeted him with smiles. Men lowered their voices in his presence. Okoro had become more than a farmer. He was becoming a man of status. A man of wealth. A man of power. The chiefs of Omoka noticed. They invited him to sit among them. They asked his counsel in meetings. They praised his generosity. For Okoro began to give gifts to prove his might. But each gift he gave, he first demanded from the drum. Each feast he held was food the drum had conjured. Okoro's pride swelled like the full moon. The boy who had once begged the ancestors for scraps was now a man who commanded riches with a beat. But the drum was watching. And the drum remembered its warning. The heart of man is never satisfied. Give him food, he asks for wealth. Give him wealth, he asks for power. Give him power, he asks for more. Okoro was no different. One night, as the moon painted the earth silver, Okoro sat before the drum. The fire flickered. Shadows danced on his walls. And in his eyes burned a hunger deeper than before. "Drum," he whispered, "you have given me food. You have given me riches. But I want more. I want respect. I want the whole village to bow when I pass. I want to rule." The drum was silent. Its skin glistened in the firelight. Okoro frowned. He struck it harder. Dum dum. And at last, the drum spoke. "Farmer, what you ask is dangerous. Respect cannot be beaten from skin. It must be earned from soul." But Okoro laughed. "Enough of riddles. Do as I command." The drum trembled. And the very next day, the chiefs of Omoka gathered the people. They lifted Okoro high. They wrapped him in cloth of crimson. They placed a crown upon his head. And they declared, "Okoro shall be our leader." The farmer became king. The man of the soil became the man of the throne. But with the crown came pride. And with pride came blindness. As king, Okoro forgot the sweat of farmers. He forgot the ache of hunger. He forgot the humility of need. He raised taxes. He mocked the poor. He silenced the elders. He ruled with arrogance, believing the drum would shield him forever. His barns grew fuller. But the stomachs of his people grew emptier. And still, when night fell, he sat before the drum. He struck it for more gold, more cows, more praise. But the drum's voice had changed. It no longer answered quickly. It no longer sang with joy. Its warning grew louder. "What I give, I can also take." At first, the people of Umuoka obeyed their new king. They bowed when he passed. They carried his gifts. They sang his praises. But whispers soon began to rise. Whispers in the market. Whispers at the well. Whispers in the night. Okoro has forgotten us. He fattens his barns while our children starve. He silences the elders who speak truth. The people's hearts turned cold. Their eyes hardened when they looked at him. And the drum grew restless. One evening, Okoro struck it. He demanded gold. But instead, dust poured out. Coins crumbled in his hands. He struck it again. Give me cows. But the cows that appeared were sickly. Their bones showed through their hides. They stumbled and fell dead. He struck it once more. Give me food. But instead of yams, locusts poured from the baskets. They swarmed his fields. They devoured his barns. They blackened the sky. Okoro screamed. No. This is not what I asked for. But the drum thundered. Farmer, you were warned. You asked for riches. You asked for power. But you forgot wisdom. What I give, I can also take. The palace walls cracked. The roof collapsed. His throne split in two. The chiefs who once praised him turned their backs. The people who once bowed now cursed his name. Okoro, once a farmer, once a king, was left with nothing. Barefoot, hungry, alone, and in the silence of the night, the only sound he heard was the faint echo of the drum. Okoro wandered the forest, broken. His crown was gone. His wealth had turned to dust. His barns lay empty. For days, he stumbled through silence. Until at last, he came upon the hollow tree again. The drum sat where he had first found it. Silent. Waiting. Okoro fell to his knees. Tears cut lines through the dust on his face. Please, he whispered. I was blind. I was proud. I asked for everything except wisdom. Now I ask only this. Teach me. For the first time, the drum's voice softened. Farmer, now you are ready. The soil does not yield to greed. The spirit does not bow to pride. Only the humble reap true harvest. Okoro bowed his head. This time, he did not strike the drum. This time, he picked up his cutlass. He returned to his fields. He bent his back to the land again. Seasons passed. Rain fell. Yams grew fat in the earth. Maize rose tall in the wind. And though Okoro never struck the drum again, his fields flourished. His barns filled. His heart found peace. In time, children gathered at his feet. Grandfather, they asked, tell us of the talking drum. Okoro smiled. And he said, the drum speaks still. But only to those who listen with humility. So hear the lesson. The drum of life beats for us all. Every beat asks a question. Will you choose greed? Or will you choose wisdom? Because what the drum gives, it can also take. If this story stirred something in you, don't let it end here. Share this story, so others may hear the wisdom of the drum. Leave a comment below. What lesson will you carry from it? And if you believe more people need stories like this, stories that warn, that teach, that inspire, then like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let the drum of wisdom beat on.